All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to COGS 108. We'll get started as people filter in. So just two reminders. One, this lecture is being recorded. Two is the chat. If you have questions, I'll be monitoring that throughout today's lecture if you have questions. But if the chat notification annoys you, disrupts you, distracts you, feel free to open the chat and then just move it off screen. And that way the notifications won't bug you. If there's anything pertinent, I'll say it out loud. If it's just a specific quick question, I'll answer it in the chat. This is Data Science in Practice, and it's fall quarter of another weird quarter. I hope everybody had a healthy and relaxing summer, even if it was a little different than previous summers. This will be a different quarter, not so different from last spring, but there's a lot going on in the world. And I just want to start off letting everybody know that I'm here to support you. This is a hands-on class. It's a technical class, and I'm, if somebody's struggling with technical stuff, I'm here to answer questions. If someone's struggling to make deadlines for whatever reason, reach out and know that other people are reaching out. So if you're struggling, don't struggle alone. And feel free to ask for whatever you need this quarter, and I'll do my best to help you out with it. Okay, so that said, we're going to chat logistics today. And one logistic that if you've checked out course materials so far, you're probably aware that this course is going to run asynchronously. So this is the only day I will be on video at 9 a.m., but we're going to talk about how that's all going to work. Very briefly, my name is Shannon Ellis. Most students call me Professor Ellis, and that's how I'll assign most of my emails to students. Very briefly, I did my undergraduate in biology. I did my PhD in human genetics. That's where I really started getting involved in data science from the bioinformatics perspective, did lots of genomic analyses, and then did a postdoc in a biostatistics department before realizing that teaching is truly what I love amongst all of the things that I like. So I applied for teaching positions, and that's how 2 years ago I ended up here in lovely San Diego as an assistant teaching professor in the cognitive science department. I teach this course. I teach COGS 9, which is Intro to Data Science. I teach COGS 18, Intro to Python. I teach part of the data science capstone course. And I love working with students. I am missing seeing my students in person. I'm missing office hours, which are a ton of fun to all work together. But given all that's going on, this is what we've got, and we will make the best of it. Okay, so we're going to talk logistics, and we're going to start with the goal. The goal in COGS 108 is to do data science. I saw, as I was looking through the participants, a number of familiar names, either from COGS 18 or COGS 9. So COGS 9 is Intro to Data Science. It is a survey course. We go through examples, we read about data science. In COGS 108, the idea is amidst similar topics, here we're actually going to do data science. They're going to be hands-on tasks that you're going to be asked to do throughout the quarter. So the course objectives are on the course syllabus, but just so you all know, I want you to be able to do a data science project from start, formulating a question, to finish communicating your results. There are a whole bunch of steps throughout there, and that's what we're going to be talking about and teaching and learning and doing in this course. I also want you to be able to carry out multiple types of analyses. I don't want you to only be familiar with inference or only be familiar with machine learning. There is a lot more to data science than machine learning. We will have a few machine learning lectures. We'll have one machine learning focused assignment, but that is not synonymous with data science. Data scientists know how to do a whole bunch of different types of analyses. We'll be using Python to do that. And then I want you to be able to communicate your results concisely and effectively in reports and presentation. In this course, that will largely come through in the final project, which we will discuss a lot and how that will work. But I want to make sure that your brilliant work isn't getting stuck because you're not able to effectively communicate at the end. And I also want you to identify and explain how to approach an unfamiliar data science task. Scoping a project, figuring out what to do once you have an idea or once you have a general idea of what you want to do or want to answer or want to figure out, knowing what the next steps you need to do is important. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. My video recording of my last lecture just became available. Okay, getting things back on track. Okay. To do this, there will be a number of platforms that you are maybe already pretty familiar with most. Most of the students in this class have senior standing. So you're likely have worked with Piazza before. Everybody is working with Canvas now. And so we'll also use GitHub, which if you've never used before, that's the focus of some of next week's lectures. Course materials will be there, project materials will be there. You will be doing your final projects on GitHub. You will need to interact with it. So we'll teach you about it. You'll get practice with it on the first assignment, and then you'll use it throughout the course. We're going to be using DataHub. For those of you who haven't used DataHub in a different course, it is a access you all have an account to on UCSD's computers. So you can use their computers to do all of your assignments, and we'll be releasing material there. So you will complete and submit assignments on DataHub. I will have a video on how that works for those of you who haven't used it previously, and that will be available shortly. Piazza, this is where you will get answers to questions, have discussion about course material, and in the rare occasion, ask for regrade requests. If you ever do something and lose points for it and should not have, we want to know about it. We want to get it right. So you'll ask for regrades on Piazza. Canvas will be your point of contact for grades. The quizzes, which we'll talk about in a second, and the links to the videos will all be made each week available on Canvas. It should be very organized there. Videos will be available on Canvas, particularly for those who are in time zones and locations that do not have access to YouTube. But most students preferred to watch videos on YouTube. So I will make lecture videos available on YouTube, and there will be a playlist on YouTube at that link. There is one from last spring, but the videos are going to change in some places, not necessarily in all of them. So I encourage you to use this playlist. It will be built out throughout the quarter. There's also a forum for anonymous feedback. This link is in the syllabus. If I ever offend you, use an example you hate, or you want to give general feedback but don't want your name attached to it, that forum is a great place to do it. I'm always open to feedback. So if you do want your name attached to it and want to have a discussion and want me to know who you are, you can always message me on Piazza or send me an email. But I like having this forum for anonymous feedback just so students feel they can give it without their name being attached to it. That said, I will take it down if it's ever used for something it shouldn't be used for. The example I typically give in class is this forum is for things I can change or for feedback on things I can actually work on. So one example is if you don't like the sound of my voice, that's not helpful feedback. But because I can't change the sound of my voice. But if I'm speaking too quickly or not being clear enough, that is something I can work on to support your education. And that is feedback I am happy to hear. So use it for things I can actually change. And it has never been an issue before, but I like to give the disclaimer. All right, we're going to talk about the logistics of how the course is going to work. We're going to talk about all the components. We're going to talk about the wait list. Any questions on the goals or the general approach to this course at this point? And feel free to unmute yourself or ask in chat.
Will lectures be available at 9 a.m.?
Great question. So I'm going to talk through how they're going to work. But very generally, I will release every week's, so next week's content at 11:59 p.m. on Friday, the week prior. So tonight at 11:59 p.m., every lecture for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and all the quizzes and all the announcements of what will be due that week will be released on Friday for the following week. Okay. Is this the only, and in the chat, there was a question. So is this the only live Zoom lecture we will have? Yes, this is the only live Zoom lecture. Discussion sections will be live. So we'll talk about those. My office hours will be offered throughout the week. Those will be live, but this is the only live lecture. Part of that is due to time zone differences. The other part is due to the size of this class. If I required lecture, we literally could not have everybody in a single Zoom room. We'll talk details on discussion sections, but very briefly here, they are not mandatory. And there are pre-recorded lectures and live lectures. No, there are only pre-recorded lectures. This is the only live lecture. Everything else will be short videos. And yes, we'll talk about the waitlist briefly in just a second. Okay. So what we're going to do in this class, how it's going to work. The general plan is here. You can see the topics that we're covering. We'll start by talking about data science, data ethics, and version control next week. And then we'll jump into Python, how to wrangle data, how to carry out analyses, and then walk through each of the different types of analyses. We'll then finish out week 10 with talking about that data science job should probably be in week 10. How to get a job in data science, what that looks like, how to communicate effectively as a data scientist, and discuss the future of data science generally. But the idea is we talk through how to do a data science project while you're doing assignments for each of these, and then you're also doing a final project. We're going to talk about all of those in just a second, but the plan is set up so that you know how to do a data science project and are able to do it alongside of the course content. If you've taken COGS 9 with me or with Brad Wojtek or anybody else who's taught COGS 9 in the past few years, these topics likely look familiar, but rather than talking about them generally, we're going to actually carry out each of these pieces from a technical standpoint. There is a programming prereq for this course as you all become like gurus in figuring out what the prereqs are and what courses to take. COGS 18 is an intro to Python course. That's our recommendation, but we also accept a MATLAB course and a Java course. We are going to assume prior programming knowledge. So if you have never programmed before, you are likely going to struggle with the assignments and the content in this course. We are going to use Python for all assignments, but if you have a strong programming background in another programming language and are not familiar with Python, we have had hundreds of students know Java and do just fine in this course. The first assignment is a review of Python, so we'll get you familiar with Python syntax. So if you have a strong programming background, you'll be able to pick up Python pretty quickly. We have had many, many students successful, even if they didn't know Python well at the beginning of the quarter. If you took a course and like wrote one line of MATLAB elsewhere, this course will probably be a struggle for you. We're here to help and support you, but I want you to know that going in. So like, I want to set expectations realistically. Does DSC 10 count as a prereq? You know, I don't know if that's officially on the prereq, but yes, what you've done in DSC 10 will be sufficient for this course. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I just made my chat super big. Okay. So we will assume prior programming knowledge. If you don't have programming experience or you took it 5 years ago and forget it all, our preferred encouragement is you take a programming course. And of course, I'm going to suggest my own course because I think it's a good one and it introduces Python, but we encourage you to take a programming course first. However, sometimes you get to your senior year and you have to take this course and things didn't work out the way you had planned in your course schedule. There are ways to learn programming online. Lots of people have done it. So I have a few links. Codecademy, learnpython.org, or the Python Data Science Handbook is a good place to get started. All right. What students care about a lot and which I appreciate them caring about, but doesn't necessarily always align. My goal is for you all to learn enough about data science and become familiar with how to do data science in Python. But it is a course, so we have to have grades. And so here's the breakdown of how grades work. Before we do that, there's a comment in the chat. DataCamp exists. I don't recommend it to students because they have had issues internally with sexual harassment. So it is not something I encourage, but it is a place to learn programming Python. So students are free to use it. And then on the back end, I can argue not to how that should be handled with my colleagues at DataCamp. So yeah, that exists. I just don't outwardly support them. The question about DSC 10, do you think you'll struggle more than if you had taken those other classes? No, I think you will have a sufficient level of programming for this course if you took DSC 10. I think you're well set up. I should add that to that slide. I'm gonna make a note here to find out if it's an actual prereq and just to make sure, even if it's not, that it is sufficient. You'll be fine. Okay, so breakdown here. Content engagement, these are going to be your quizzes after each lecture video. We'll talk about those, each of these in detail in a second. Those are going to make up 20% of your grade. There will be 6 assignments. And those will all be auto-graded, and they're meant to show you each of the concepts of data analysis and data science as we're going through. There will be then 1 project proposal, 1 project survey, and 1 final project. We'll talk about each of those in just a second. This I mentioned in the announcement I sent out on Canvas, but just generally here, attendance will be neither required nor incentivized this quarter for any aspect of the course. So we won't have live lectures, but you will also not be required to go to discussion section. This is because we have people all over the world, and different times are going to work better for different people. And I don't want to bias any one set of the class. So how that's going to work in logistics is will be explained in the next slides. There's a whole lot going on here, but these are your lecture videos. So there are going to be at least 65 different videos throughout the course, which means there are going to be a few each day. There's going to be 1 to 4 lecture videos each day. The totality of the time it takes to watch the videos plus to take the quizzes will equal 50 minutes. So the idea is if 9 a.m. is a great time for you to do your work and you like having that schedule, you can sit down at 9 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you can then take the class in that time. I will also be monitoring Piazza closely every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. to 9:50. So if you have questions at that time, you're likely to get very quick answers, especially if it's about lecture videos. There will be video quizzes due every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Friday is bold because that is the day each week that all of your video quizzes have to be submitted. This was a change I made from last spring. So last spring, I had due dates every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Students found themselves missing them. So what I do is now I put the due dates Monday, Wednesday, Friday to keep students on track so that you don't fall unnecessarily behind. However, if you submit any video from week 2, as long as it's in by Friday at 11:59 p.m. local time, you'll get full credit. There will be no penalty. So each week, make sure on Fridays you have all of that week's videos done. So the previous Friday, I will release everything. There will be due dates every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but as long as you complete all of your video quizzes by Friday at 11:59 p.m. of that week, you're good to go. And this is to keep you on top of the material in the lecture videos. The reason I have these is based on experience, even when we were in person. Historically, there are no exams in this course, which is the case this quarter as well. And I used to say I used to just say, like, come to lecture and you'll get extra credit if you do. And then students gave me this feedback and they're like, hey, I fell behind because there was no incentive to actually keep me on top of the material. And so students were behind. And then at the end of the quarter, I was getting all of these questions about stuff students should have known because they never actually engaged with the lecture material. So this is a way to keep you on track. These are meant to be comprehension checks of the video you just watched. So I encourage you to watch the video, take the quiz. Watch the next video, take the quiz. They are not meant to be particularly difficult, but there are guardrails. I'm going to talk about the logistics and the how right now. So they're taken on Canvas. You have a single attempt. So if you watch a video, make sure you then click on the right quiz accompanying it. It's going to have the same name because that's the only attempt you have. We are going to have close to 500 people in this course. So I'm going to be strict on this. So just like take extra care, make sure you're clicking on the right link. Make sure once you open it, you start it and you finish it. There are 1 to 4 videos per each lecture day. They will be organized on Canvas. You'll see Monday, there will be each quiz there. There'll be Wednesday, you'll see each quiz there with each video. So it should be very, very clear. It's time so you have about 1 minute per question. Last quarter, I looked at all this. Students felt pressured. And so I have now extended it so that you have more than a minute per question. But the reality is that most students finish it in less than 1 minute per question across all the quizzes. So I've extended it just so students don't feel stressed about it, but know that I've set up the time so that, lecture plus quizzes with 1 minute per question is less than 50 minutes. You'll have a little bit more time. Now, the 10 points free. The way that works is if you forget to take a quiz one day and or you just have a bad day and you miss 10 points, that's not going to hurt you. So say at the end of the quarter, there are 200 total points. There's probably going to be about that, maybe a little more. The only 190 of them will be required to get full credit. So you'll get 10 points free. If you wind up getting 200 out of 200, which means then you would have 210 out of 200, you don't get extra credit. It's just that we're going to give you 10 points free just to take some of the pressure off if you forget one day or you have a bad quiz day. I had more points free last spring, and that was too many. So I've adjusted this down to 10 points free. I will look at the end of the quarter and take a look at the distribution. People tended to do very well on these content quizzes last spring. I don't anticipate this being an issue, but I do take a look and I'll adjust if needed. But you will have at least 10 points free at the end. So if something goes wrong, if your internet fritzes out one day, you don't have to panic. If you have sustained internet issues, chat with me and we'll find a solution. How many points is each quiz worth? So as of right now, most questions are worth 1 point. I might adjust this so that some questions that are a little more in depth are worth more, but it's about 1 point per question. So if you see a quiz has 4 questions, it's about four points. And I just want to really reiterate this. So there's a question from Yun Chun here. So quizzes are usually due on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but as long as you finish quizzes by Friday, you are fine. Yes, that is a true statement. They will have due dates on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to help keep you on track, but the real true due date is Friday of that week. Are the quizzes on programming? No, the quizzes are not most of the time on programming. They are on the concepts covered in the videos. There will be both conceptual lectures and technical lectures. So the technical lectures are going to involve analysis, involve programming. So you might have to understand the programming that happened in that video, but there will only be a few programming-centric questions on your quizzes, and that's going to be on the videos that are specifically on Python. You can attempt a quiz a single time. I want to make sure I say this on the video again. You only have one attempt, so when you click on it to start it, finish it then. You will also, I will release the answers to the quizzes the following week. So when I post the next week's quizzes at 11:59, the previous answers will become available to you. Yes, yep, Richard's, I'm gonna comment on this one. You can get full credit on the quizzes, even if you miss 1 or 2 throughout the quizzes, as long as those mistakes are less than 10. Yeah, and I know students last spring got a little hung up because they weren't getting like 100% on the quizzes, and that's okay, right? Like, you can get 90% and still do very, very well in this class. I don't anticipate everybody getting every question right. So don't panic if you miss a few. There are a lot of quizzes. There are a lot of possible points. You'll get 10 free points. And it's okay if you don't get everything right all the time. You're still going to do fine in this course. Are you expected to watch both YouTube videos and recorded live lecture? No, there will only be YouTube videos. There will not be a live lecture. The videos that are posted on YouTube will be the exact same videos made available in Canvas on the media gallery. And this is because some students don't have access to YouTube. So pick one, they'll be the same, watch them there. Pamela's question, are they all multiple choice? No, they are vast majority multiple choice. There will also be some true false. There will be a few matching, but that's about it. Maybe one free, like there'll be some that are free response, but the like possible fill in the blank will be given to you in the answer. All right. So my intended plan is for students that this works for. You can sit down during class time, watch the videos, trying to remain focused for each, right? That's tough. It's hard to stay focused for even 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then take the corresponding quiz. So the videos are like 5 to max 20 minutes. I just got a question. Am I from Canada? No, that's funny. I am from Philadelphia, which is part of the reason I speak so quickly. But I do have an East Coast accent usually. So I'm curious what I said. Go Birds. Thanks. I'm a Phillies fan. I'm a secondary Eagles fan. I lived in Baltimore for 10 years, so I'm also a Ravens fan. So it's been fun to watch them, even though they lost to the Chiefs last week. Okay. I've never gotten from Canada before. I'm excited about that one. Okay. Questions here about logistics so far. We're going to keep talking about each one. I just want to make sure these are very, very clear to everybody. Okay, there is a corresponding video quiz for today's lecture material. It is not yet available. It will be available after class, but it's going to be posted under Monday on Canvas just so you get used to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The quiz name will be 0101 Welcome, which is the name of this lecture. And it's not due until the due date will be Monday, and then the like drop dead due date will be Friday. The way these naming will work, 0101, this first 01 is the week. So I know it's week 0, but I'm putting it under week 1 just so you get used to it. And then 01 welcome, 01 is the first of the videos that week, and then welcome is the name of it. That will be the name of the lecture. It will also be the name of the video. Sorry, the name of the video, it will also be the name of the quiz. Open the right quiz. I have to be strict on this or I will spend my entire quarter manually going in and changing things for people on Canvas, and it will be unfair. So please, 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 I'm going to be strict. I'm going to say no. If you're like, hey, I clicked on the wrong lecture video, I'm going to say, sorry, I can't help you there. We'll talk about that in a second on. So each week's content available Friday the previous week. And then the first quiz for today is going to open right after class today. All right, assignments. Yeah, waitlist will be on here. There's a slide for it. Okay, assignments are completed individually and graded programmatically. They're meant to get you practice. They are meant for you to understand each part. They're going to be largely using programming to understand an analysis. So I don't just care that you know how to write the code. I care that you understand the output of that code. The first 2 assignments are really meant to get you up to speed with Python programming. That's assignment 1. And then the Pandas package that we'll be using a lot. There'll be a lecture on it. That's what A1 and A2 are. They are really reviews. If you are struggling a ton on A1 and A2, know that the assignments throughout the quarter are going to get more difficult and take you more time. So A1 and 2 are really checks. A3, 4, 5, and 6 are where we get into the data science material. So they won't be totally guided. You're likely going to have to look some stuff up on your own. You'll have all the information. You'll know where to look for it. And this is by design. Data scientists have to look stuff up all the time. But the instructions should be clear. There will be checks in the assignments to make sure you're on the right track. You have to follow the instructions to receive credit. And you'll have the opportunity to practice in discussion section. All right, so there's some questions building up here. I'm gonna come back to both of those in a second. So assignments will be due on Fridays at 11:59 p.m. This is on the syllabus. I am also going to turn on my do not disturb because I forgot to do that. Oh, it is on. Slack doesn't follow it. Okay. So we'll come to discussion section in just a second. Here is where I'm going to talk about the lecture notes in Jupyter Notebooks or just PDFs. The class is going to have both PDFs and Jupyter Notebooks. The way you get lecture notes is via GitHub. So we are going to use GitHub a lot in this course, and you'll get more familiar with it. So github.com/cogs108 is the GitHub, and there are a bunch of repos. You'll see here there's the overview. That's where you will find the syllabus. Lectures, FA20, that's where you will find the PDFs and the Jupyter Notebooks for this class. Section, that's where there will be section materials, projects, tutorials to help you out, and then readings are also here. We will also be using DataHub, and there is a way to get lecture notes, including the notebooks and the PDFs on DataHub. So if you go to datahub.ucsd.edu and you log in, you will have an account using your UCSD email address. I'm going to open the Grader account for this class right now. When you do that, you will then select your course environment. You must select COGS 108 here to get access to the COGS 108 assignments. If you have multiple courses, you'll want to stop your server, log out, and make sure you're in COGS 108 when you then launch the environment. Apparently, a lot of people are doing this right now. So when you do this, you'll have access to all of the assignments on DataHub. My goal is for each of you by the end of next week to log on to DataHub and have a working installation of Jupyter on your computer. We're going to use the Anaconda distribution discussion section, which starts next Monday, will help you download and make sure you have access to all of these. So if you're unsure and you can't figure it out on your own, that's totally fine. Discussion section is the place to debug installation issues. Okay, so this has started up. When you log in, you will not have all of these files if you've never used DataHub before, but as you complete assignments, they will show up here. You will also not have all these tabs. I'm using the Grader account right now, but you should have a tab that says assignments. In assignments, the first thing I want you to visually check is make sure that this drop-down menu says COGS 108 Fall 20. If you were previously enrolled in this class or you're enrolled in other classes, it might have the wrong one here. Make sure you select Fall 20 COGS 108. This is where you will get assignments. So right now, the only released assignment is the practice assignment. We're not grading this one. We don't even take a look at it. It's just there for you to get familiar with the process. So you will fetch this assignment. Once you fetch an assignment, it shows up under downloaded assignments. Once you click on the assignment, you will have access to the notebook in that assignment. You click on that, it'll open up. This is where you will complete assignments. There will be a video walking you through this, but I wanted to show you it here now. You'll complete the assignment. There's instructions here. There will be questions throughout. Wherever you see raise not implemented error, you delete that, you put your answer in there. At the end, it will tell you to submit your assignment. You will save this, you will go back. You will then validate, just runs it from top to bottom, making sure you've passed all the asserts. The video that I send will explain this in more detail, and then you click submit. Make sure you click submit and you double check that it shows up down here under submitted assignments. I only have access to your assignment if you click submit. Also note that this is in a different time zone than Pacific time. So if it looks like it's late, it's probably just because there's a different time zone. If you've submitted it before 11:59 p.m. on the date of the due date, you'll be fine. So if you panic, just remind yourself it's UTC. Okay, so to Sean's question, assignments will be a similar fashion in COGS 18. The process is the exact same. The actual assignments are quite different. The first assignment is a review of COGS 18. So if you took COGS 18, A1 should be a breeze as long as you remember the stuff we talked about. If you already have Jupyter, you don't need to reinstall it. Yes, Richard, this was going to be my next point. You can click this submit button as many times as you want, but we only have access to the last time you submit. So if you want to submit a whole bunch of times before the deadline, go for it. And then the last time you click it is the one we're going to have. The only place you'll run into issues is if you submit before the deadline and then submit again after the deadline. We only have access to that late version. So if you want it to be late, click submit again, but be very careful. Make sure you are clicking submit for the right assignment. It will happen a couple times throughout the quarter that somebody will make a mistake. Reach out on Piazza to instructors if that happens, and we'll figure it out from there. All right, so I encourage you to log on to DataHub and do the practice assignment so you get familiar with the submission process. It's just there so that when you submit for the first time for real, you know that you've done it correctly. Okay, there have been some questions about discussion section. We'll get to those in just a second. The due dates, which were asked about, are all here. They're also on the course syllabus. So you can link to the syllabus from Canvas. So if you go to Canvas, your Canvas should look something like this. The course GitHub is there. If you click on syllabus, that links you to the course syllabus. This is on GitHub. The overview is here. You can see it is lengthy. It's got lots of information, but course staff information is included. All the links that I mentioned today, everything we're talking about, the grading breakdown is here. The explanation of the lecture videos, how to complete assignments, what deadlines are. One thing I didn't mention for deadlines is the late period will be 3 days this quarter. This is so I can get you feedback back more quickly. Extensions are a possibility. If absolutely necessary, send me an email. We'll work it out. We'll give you feedback. All the information you need here. We're going to talk about the project in a second. And then the course schedule is at the end. So the due dates for everything is on the course schedule. These are also available in Canvas. If you click on the assignments tab at the left, You can see all of the due dates throughout the quarter. Your quizzes aren't yet available and they might change, but you can see the due dates, and you can also see show by type. So you can see the due dates for just the assignments are here and how many points they're worth. You can get a sense for the video quizzes, but those won't be released for a while and there might be more or less. Project due dates are also here, and then extra credit. The pre-course survey we're going to talk about in a second. Many of you have already filled it out, but the link to it is here. I will be adding all of the quizzes also in each of the modules. There'll be a different module for each week. When you open the assignments because you can't open the quizzes. No, your assignments will be released one by one. They'll be released on DataHub. I'm going to release the first assignment tonight at 11:59 p.m. They'll always be released more than a week before they're due. They'll always be due on Friday. So you'll have at least Friday to Friday to submit assignment, and usually more than that. Okay. Discussion section is happening every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday of a given week will be very similar from one section to the next. And the goal here is to help you with the technical aspects of the course. These will be guided at helping you figure out what you need to do for the assignments. So if you are struggling on the assignments, I strongly encourage you to attend a discussion section throughout the week. I encourage you to attend the one you're registered for if possible, but you're free to go to another one if it works out better for your schedule. The only time this will become a problem is if one discussion section becomes too crowded. We want to be able to make sure that people are getting their questions answered in discussion section. It usually isn't an issue. So attendance, we're not taking attendance. It's not mandatory. It's not incentivized. Go to the one you're assigned to if it works out for your schedule. And if not, feel free to attend another one. The material will be very similar throughout each discussion section. These end office hours start on Monday, next week. So if you are enrolled in a Friday discussion section, that is not happening today. Same thing for Friday office hours, not happening today. Office hours will start next week. Held on Zoom. Zoom links are all on Canvas. For those of you who haven't seen it on Canvas yet, there is this.
Chicken. Oh, wait.
So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, there is this Zoom directory. We will have links to every discussion section broken down by time of the week. And then we also have office hours throughout the week. Those will start next Monday, well, Tuesday, because that's the first one. But we have office hours in the morning, in the afternoon, all throughout the week to really try to help students get the help they need. If you take a look at the general plan for discussion section, you'll see that we talk about assignment 1 before assignment 1 is due. We talk about assignment 2 in discussion section before it's due. And these are really guided at giving you additional technical help and guidance beyond what is covered in the lectures. Toward the end of the quarter, we will have one that is just open for project help towards the end of the quarter. And that's just meant to give you an additional set of office hours during week 9 as you're finalizing projects. Good question. Discussion will not be recorded. However, if students in different time zones feel that they're missing out or like anticipate it right now, shoot me a message on Piazza or make it an open note on Piazza. If there is desire for more discussion section help for those in a different time zone or who can't make one for whatever reason, whether you're in this time zone or not, let's start a discussion on Piazza if we feel that discussion section should be, and maybe we can record one a week. It hasn't been an issue before, but I'm open to that one. All right, I am going to pause for questions about lecture videos, about assignments, about DataHub before we talk about the final project.
Do we have to download Jupyter? I mean, I'm using it online. I thought it'd be like an online hub that we can just access. But
great.
You mentioned that's to be downloaded.
I should have been clearer about this. That's a great question. So you will have access to DataHub. That has Jupyter available to you. You can use UCSD's computers. Okay. I encourage you to also have a local installation of Python via the Anaconda distribution, as this will make doing your project that we're going to talk about now easier. So you can do your entire project on DataHub. There is a terminal there for those of you who are more familiar with that. But having it on your computer will be helpful. So we encourage you to do it, but it's not absolutely necessary. And that is part of discussion section week 1. So if you are not sure how to do that, it's covered in discussion section week 1.
Okay, because I already downloaded Anaconda, and I just figured it'd be just 2 separate entities.
Jupyter is an installation of Anaconda. So if you have Anaconda, you're good. It has
Okay.
Jupyter in there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hi, quick question.
Yes.
So about the Jupyter notebooks and stuff, those will get updated on Data Hub as we go along, right?
Yes. So to show you that real quick, because I don't think I showed this, on Canvas, there at the home page, there is this link for Data Hub. If you click on this link after you've signed into Data Hub, it will install the, you might have a pop-up and then you'll have to allow it. Okay, I'm in the student view, that's why. Okay, all right. Once you click on that link, it will, on your Data Hub account, so you'll see this is datahub.ucsd.edu, have the lecture notes, both the PDFs and the notebooks for each week. So they'll be broken down by week. So O1 right now only has the welcome, but as of tonight, all of week 1's materials will be included there. You will have to click on that link each week to get the materials on Data Hub. So each week, I encourage you to come back to Canvas and click on this link. It will get you the most recent notes on Data Hub, or the notes will be available on Canvas on GitHub. So if you want to use Data Hub for that, click on that link. If you want to use GitHub, these will be updated. They are the exact same. So click on that link each week. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Another part of that is, will we have kind of interactive notebooks that we can go along, that we can basically do as we go along in lecture, like in COGS 18?
Yes.
Or
anytime there is a Python or data science technical lecture, you will be given that notebook, and I will use that exact notebook in the notes, and you'll be able to follow along. And there'll even be places where I'm like, hey, pause the video, check this out, like think about what just happened here. That will be about once a week, and those will be slightly longer, but you're encouraged to pause them a lot more just so you can see the whole video. But you'll have the notebook and you'll follow along. Yep.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. Deadlines on the syllabus and are on the assignments tab in Canvas. They should be exactly the same. David, yes, there is a way. Oh, sorry, it was private. I shouldn't have said your name out loud. There is a way to consolidate all of your files from COGS 18 into a single folder. I am going to post this to Piazza after class. Okay, wrote a note to myself, so I did that. All right, we are getting close on logistics here on time, but I'm going to talk about the final project because this is different than what you may have heard from your friends if they didn't take it last spring. So this is how we ran it last spring, and it worked out pretty well. Historically, this class has had a large final group project. However, I don't want to make people do a group project if we are not all in the same place. So I want to make sure there is an option outside of the final group project. The final group project still exists. It is up to you to choose for yourself which one you want to do. So very briefly, the final group project is completed throughout the quarter, groups of 4 to 5 people, and you carry out a data science process on a topic, a question, a data set, or a handful of data sets of your choosing. Option 2 is an individual final project. This is completed week 10 and finals week. This is a change from last quarter. Last quarter, I only released stuff during finals week, and students were like, hey, it would have been great to have that during the dead week. We have a lot more time. We're already stressed during finals week. If you use this again in the future, release it earlier. So that's what I'm doing this quarter. This is completed individually, but the data sets and the topic are chosen for you, and the scale of this project is smaller, right? Option 1 is 4 to 5 brains working throughout the quarter. Option 2 is 1 brain working for a week and a half. The idea behind option 2, the individual project, is that it mimics a data science interview. So in a data science interview, often you are first asked a bunch of questions, then you are given a data set, asked to carry out an analysis in like 24 to 48 hours, and then you present that to the team you're interviewing with. So it seems very practical. I've talked to a handful of data scientists this summer, and they were like, that's a great project. But the group final project will get you more in-depth understanding of a bunch of techniques. You'll get feedback from lots of your colleagues and peers. Option 2 mimics the data science interview process, and it's a shorter, more compact project. Okay, you will have to decide and be in a group by the end of week 2. So start thinking about this now. What I can tell you from the feedback last quarter is that the time spent by an individual was very similar between group 1, option 1 and option 2. Option 1 spent about 20 hours individually throughout the quarter working on their group project. Option 2 spent 15 to 20 hours working on their individual project over the course of a handful of days. So the most negative feedback I got about the individual project was they didn't have enough time. And now by adding on an additional week, even though it doesn't totally mimic the data science process for an interview, I think it'll be more beneficial and less stressful to students. I had, just for your information, I had more students saying they wish they had done the group project after all. And I had no students, I had one student saying they wish they had done the individual project. So bear that in mind. The question is, if you're not good at coding, would you recommend one over the other? I think both. Either would be fine. Option 1, you get to work with a group, but you have other things you can benefit even if you're not the strongest programmer. You have ideas, you have your ability to write, you have your ability to communicate, you have your ability to learn the stuff throughout the quarter. Students who don't program well have done well in both of these options. As a reminder, this is not meant to be, you're all new at data science in my mind, so you don't have to be an expert right now, and you will likely be able to contribute a lot to your team even if you're not the strongest programmer yet. I encourage people to get diverse teams of strong programmers, not strong programmers, people who know how to design experiments. All right, in the interest of time, I'm going to get through this, but I'll answer more questions at the end. There will be a project proposal. These are due Friday of week 3. Both option 1 and option 2 have to submit these, but there's information that I'll be providing for both. Final report is what you will turn in on the day of the final. You do not have to show up anywhere the day of the final, and you also have to complete a survey. Everybody will complete a survey. It just depends which survey you fill out, whether you fill out the one having done a group project or the one having done an individual project. So all of this information is on GitHub, and there will be videos that talk about this throughout the quarter, but just very briefly now, there will be a Jupyter notebook carrying out a data science project from start to finish, regardless of which one you choose, and then there'll just be survey about your experience. Note that group projects, individuals who do not contribute equally are at risk of receiving a lower grade, and I use feedback I get throughout the quarter and feedback from the survey where this happens. This is very rare. About 10 students out of more than 400 have their grade affected. Mostly people participate equally and have a really great experience with the final project. All right, if you are confused throughout the course, you should ask during section, post on Piazza, ask a classmate, or attend office hours. And we will use Piazza throughout this course. There are rules. Don't post duplicate questions. Search first to see if somebody else already asked it. Use public posts whenever possible, but if your post has code that is an answer to an assignment in it, make sure it is private to instructors only. And regrade requests will be done using the regrade tag privately to instructors. We will answer Piazza questions regularly, but please be patient if you're posting on a weekend or late at night. I'm on Piazza almost every day. We'll get to everything, I promise. But if you're posting right before the deadline of an assignment, I make the deadlines midnight because I know students are up late, but I will be asleep. Okay, class conduct, very important to me. Don't cheat, be respectful, take care of one another. I'm here to support you, and we've set up this course so that you are supported and you don't feel the need to cheat. Okay, it is 9:50, waitlist real quick. If you have been on the waitlist for more than a day or two. So if you're on the waitlist as of last week, I talked to our staff. They are going to clear the waitlist and enroll everybody who has been on the waitlist for a while. After that, nobody will be removed off the waitlist. I was anticipating this would have happened before today, but it didn't. So I'm anticipating it to happen today or tomorrow. So it should be settled soon. If you have a more specific question than that, cogsadvising@ucsd.edu is where you should go. I don't have access to the waitlist. I literally cannot move people off the waitlist. Okay, a note about this quarter. I'm excited to have you all here. It's going to be different, maybe not that different than spring. I've built flexibility in to account, but I'm here to support you. So if you're struggling, I'm here to help figure out how to make it work for you. Survey is up. The link is on Canvas. It's just so I can learn more about you all because I like to know about my students. A little bit of extra credit if you do it by next Friday. Okay, I'm gonna check the chat and then open this up for general questions. Great question. Isabel asked about the grade distribution between option 1 and option 2 of the final project. It was not, but I adjusted it to be so. So I promise that both on the project proposal and on the final projects, the grade distributions will be the same between the two, even if they don't come out that way. So you are not at a grade disadvantage or advantage, regardless of which option you take. That's a great question. How to get into groups. There will be time in discussion section next week. So you don't have to form groups within discussion section, but that's a place to go if you don't know people. There is a way on Piazza to look for groups. Say your interests, say your background, right? If you're interested in politics, put that out there. Find other people who are interested in that. And the other is I will do my best to help for people who want to be in a group project but have not been able to find a group towards the end of week 2. Confirming that you do not have a final exam. There are no midterms, there are no exams. You have the quizzes throughout the quarter, but there are no exams. You only have the final project. You do not have to show up anywhere on the day of the final. You do have to submit your final project, which we'll go into those details later, on the day, by the day of the final exam. No survey put you into groups. That I did put people into groups one quarter. Students hated it. So Piazza is the place to help form groups. You'll see at the top, there is a looking for a group. That's where you should go for that. Data sets and topic for the individual final project. I meant to say that here. Yes, they have been decided. They are different from last spring. It's in the documentation of the project's repo on COGS 108, so you can read more detail there. But specifically, the topic here is going to be San Diego Parks and Recreation, and you are going to envision that you work for Parks and Rec, and it's up to you to advise your team as to what your next steps should be for the Parks and Recreation. So based on information we know about San Diego, you could ask a question about whether we need more parks, do we need fewer parks, which parks should we get rid of, and there'll be a bunch of data given to you that are real data from San Diego to ultimately help you do that analysis. Ikai, can you find group mates by your own? Yes. Yep. You're going to submit a survey telling me who your group is, and that will be released later on. And it can be anybody in this course, as long as it's 4 to 5 people. I encourage you to not just have one major, but you're allowed to if you want, because the strongest teams tend to have people from different majors. You will be submitting a survey eventually to tell me if you want to do the group project or individual. You do not need to do anything yet. That information will be provided in week 2. Lab time for COGS 108 is equal to discussion. 7th in the wait list. I'd imagine you've probably been on the wait list for a while. If you're 7th, I anticipate you becoming enrolled in this course. You will see the grade for the quizzes right after you submit it, but you will not have the correct answers until the following week. Assignments, it will be graded 4 days after it is submitted. You will have feedback and grades within a week of assignments. To clarify, everyone on the wait list, I can't say everybody, but if you've been on the wait list for more than a day or 2, I expect you to be enrolled. That's what the staff and I talked about this. Quizzes are timed. You will have a little more than 1 minute per question. Still confused about how the 10 free points work. If at the end of the quarter, there are 200 total points, if you get 190 points, you'll get full credit on the quizzes. So I'm just going to add 10 points to the total and divide by the number of points possible that there were. If you get on the wait list today, is there a chance you could be enrolled? No, I don't think so. I could be wrong. Our staff told me they were going to clear whoever was on the wait list as of last week. And so if you've been on it a few months ago, yep, I anticipate you being enrolled. I don't want to like guarantee because I can't actually control it, but that's what our staff agreed to. They control the wait list. All right. I know I went through all those questions super quickly. If you ask a question on Piazza that has already been answered in here, I will answer it again. I know this is a lot of information. Check the syllabus first. The information should be there, but I get that y'all are trying to manage a lot, and you're getting all of this information across a bunch of classes. So if you're still unsure, even if you're like, hey, I think she said that during lecture, check the syllabus first. And if you're still unsure, post to Piazza. All right. Thanks to y'all who have filled out the survey already. A reminder to do that before I sign off. I will try to have this video posted by noon today in case anybody's asks you and you happen to know. Thank you all. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I'll hang out for one more minute for questions.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the whole like Anaconda and Jupyter like download thing, isn't Jupyter like available through like the data hub? Like, am I supposed to be downloading a separate like Jupyter thing, or like?
Yeah, so it is available through Data Hub, and that's what we'll be using for assignments. But doing your project will be easier if you have it on your computer. So you theoretically could do the entire course on Data Hub. But
Okay.
I want students to also have access to this material after they leave this class. And that's where I want you to download and install Anaconda. And that will have Jupyter as part of it.
And is there instruction for like these downloaders? It's just kind of like go to Anaconda, click download, and it's done.
There is a Piazza post about it already, so check
Oh, I
that.
see.
But it's also part of a discussion section next week. So if the instructions there don't help you or you weren't able to figure it out, a good place to debug that would be discussion section next week.
Okay. And one other thing in the class technology section in the syllabus, it says like Python parentheses less than equal to 3.6 Anaconda distribution. Like, what does that mean?
So that means, so when you download the most recent Anaconda, it will include a Python, and the 3.6 means Python version 3.6 or greater. That's what we're going to be using. That's what you'll have access to on Data Hub. You'll have 3.7 there. But if you download the most recent Anaconda, that will give you everything. It gives you Python, it gives you Jupyter Notebooks, gives you all of the packages we're going to use.
And is Jupyter kind of like Eclipse? Is that what it is?
Kind of, yeah. So it is an IDE, but it's a way, Jupyter specifically is a notebook. So it allows you to have text and code and output all in one document.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Great questions. There was a question to me privately. Do I know if Jupyter works on an iPad? It does. I haven't used it on there, so I don't know how seamless it is. Pre-course survey, you have until the 9th. Confirming that is true. Okay. Which of option 1 or 2 was naturally distributed higher or lower? Should we anticipate one of them being curved or one being naturally high, or is it typically random? They were only off by like 1 or 2 percentage points out of 100, and I adjusted them. I can't remember which one was higher, but I can tell you that the average across projects is usually about a 90 to 91. So people typically do quite well on the projects, regardless of choice. The quiz for today will be under Monday. And there will be additional quizzes for Mondays as well. And confirming pre-course survey does not have to be done today, but it does have to be due by next Friday for extra credit. Can I make the COGS 18 notebooks available to you? Notebooks are no longer available there. I can show you, I can give you the link to where those are. These won't be the exact same as COGS 18, depending upon which quarter you took it, but they will largely overlap. And assignment 0 is just for practice. You don't have to do it. We're not going to be looking to see if you do. I just want people who have not used Data Hub previously to be familiar with fetching, seeing what it looks like, and submitting. So you can get that practice in without it actually mattering, but you don't have to do it. Oh, sorry, I sent that privately. That was to the response to Kylie's question. So those should be very similar regardless of which quarter you took it.
Cool, thanks. And then can I just download that onto my computer and it will show on my Jupyter notebooks that are through Anaconda?
I would hold off for like a week because there will be instructions next week's lectures on how to clone from GitHub. And that
Okay.
would be the best way to do it. So theoretically, you could download it, but that will be a good time to practice using the GitHub that you learn about in next week's lectures.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, so due dates for the quizzes are spread throughout the entire week. So you will see some quizzes are due Monday, some are due Wednesday, some are due Friday. However, as long as you submit that week's quizzes by Friday, they will be counted as on time. So think of the due date every week as Friday, 11:59 p.m. for all that week's quizzes. But I will have due dates every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday just to keep people on track.
When do you think we'll cover like because the whole discussion, the recorded discussion for perhaps people who are abroad, when do you think we'll discuss it? Because the discussion starts on Monday, and you said we'll cover like some basic stuff there.
Yeah.
And
Let me just make a note to myself right now. I mostly wanted the Piazza to remind me to do it. So I'm going to talk to our staff. I'm sure somebody is willing to record theirs. I just don't want to agree for them.
yeah.
And so I am going to talk to them and see who's interested and work from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So I will talk to them and then let y'all know on Piazza. And if I don't get back to you by Monday, can you bug me
For sure.
with a solution? I'm sure we'll have a solution by then.
And then you'll post like the solution on Piazza, like for everyone to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thank
then
you.
you'll also see those videos then pop up on the media gallery on Canvas.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Other questions?
So downloading Jupyter is pretty much just for our own benefit.
Yes, it's for your own benefit and for the final project. Makes it easier.
Okay.
The reason that's easier is you'll be using GitHub a lot, and using GitHub on DataHub is possible. It depends how comfortable you are in the terminal. So if I were taking this class, I would use GitHub and Jupyter on my computer for the final project.
Okay. GitHub, it's downloaded? We download GitHub, or do you want us to
So you
access everything through Canvas pretty much?
everything will be through Canvas, and you'll have, so GitHub will be available to you there. And if you have Git on your computer, Macs have Git by default. A lot of PCs do as well. But that'll be part of assignment 1.
Okay.
To use that. And that'll be reviewed in discussion section next week.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Richard, good clarification. I like the scare quotes for due dates Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but like actual deadline is Friday. The instructions to install Jupyter via Anaconda are on Piazza. There's a post about it.
So, oh, sorry.
Okay.
So just to recap, so our basically like our daily goal is just kind of like Monday, look at the pre-recorded lecture, finish the quiz, Wednesday watch and quiz, and Friday quiz, and throughout that week you also try to do the assignment, and that's what you're going to be doing for the rest of the quarter.
Yes, and then on top of that would be the project.
Yeah.
So which would, if you're doing the group, be throughout the entire quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing the individual, would be more concentrated at the end of the quarter.
Okay.
Yep. But that is what your normal week would look like.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend. Bye, y'all.